Hi there and welcome back to The Marketing Hustle. I'm your host, Lottie, and I am obsessed with startup brands and how they get built. I'm the founder of two businesses, Upworld, which is a secret weapon for startup marketers, and Brand Hackers that builds fractional marketing teams for brands with big dreams. Today, I chatted to Camilla Barnard, founder of Rude Health, a business she started 18 years ago with her ex-husband. We chatted about how to handle founders and their big ideas, how to manage the economy when it grows in true boom and bust cycles. Cost of living crisis is nothing new for someone who's lived through the 2008 recession. And we talked about making big, brave bets in brand building. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit the subscribe button as it really makes a difference. It means that you'll get a notification when we've released a new episode and we get to find out who's following us. If you could do us a favour, do leave a review and give us a rating where you listen to your favourite podcast so that more people can hear about us and we can get more great guests in for conversations just like this.
Well, thank you so much for coming.
Oh, thank you for having me.
I'm actually such a fangirl.
I don't know what to say.
Like, I'm trying to play it cool. Like, Camilla's in my house, we're just having tea. But I think I discovered the brand, like, so long ago. So I started my career at Procter & Gamble.
Yes.
And this says quite a lot about me. And one of our first things we had to do was like bring in a brand that we admired. And everyone brought in like Gillette because they would sort of textbook.
That is a random brand to choose. I mean, I know it's Procter & Gamble,
because they were all meant to sort of like show that they loved big growth and blades.
Fair enough.
Everyone came in with these really sort of boring
big brands, standard big brands.
And I came in with the box of your early Rice Krispies. That I just somehow mum had bought and was in my house and I was obsessed with and was like, look at the copy on the back of this pack and the
I used to love doing the copy on the back of the pack. Yeah.
So I remember, and I was 21 when I got that job. So that's 12 years ago. So that must have been...
Yeah, so that was the old packaging as well.
It was very different.
That was it was. Yeah.
And we were just chatting about how now it's all a milks business.
Yes.
What about the Rice
Krispies? And they kept us going. The puffed rice was one of our early wins. So, I mean, we've been going ages now. It's more than 18 years. And puffed rice was one of our first cereals. And the ingredients are rice. Yeah. It's just rice, which is not the case with others. If you look at them, they've got
one would imagine not.
Yeah,
yes.
Exactly. And they were an early success. So we started off with cereals, started with muesli, and then the sort of puffs and flakes came next because I'd been brought up on, flaky cereals, thinking that they were really healthy. Yeah. And I was doing that thing of looking at the cereal box on the table, because cereal boxes are one of the only things that stays on the table. Usually, unless you're casually filming a podcast with some milk sitting on the table.
Which is how we all
hang out. But cereal boxes on the table you do kind of look at and read. And I was casually reading this box of flakes. And when you just suddenly actually look at something, and I was like, how much salt? And it's like, because I'd been sold it as healthy, I felt conned. I felt really like that's not what I was expecting. And if that was a packet of crisps, I'd been fine with it because I'm not eating them for health reasons.
Because you're in the pub and it's a different thing.
Because I love crisps. So anyway, that got us into, it's like, do you really need to do that? Do you need that much salt? Anyway, so that was why we made the puffed rice. They got listed really early by the supermarkets and they kept us going. Like the supermarket puffed rice listing saved us through the whole 2008 recession, which was a nightmare. As a tiny premium food brand that's trying to start up, nobody wanted premium food. That was when Tesco's introduced their value range and everything. So we're going, you really want a healthy cereal? And they're going, no, we really want a cheap cereal. So, but the puffed rice stayed because it was gluten-free at a time when people were really interested in that and there wasn't much choice. It stuck and it allowed us to keep going.
But now it's dwarfed by...
It's dwarfed now by all of the milk. So some of the other cereals, so the granolas are our best-selling cereals, and the milks outsell everything else by a long way. A lot. That's my greatness. Good number, isn't it? By a lot. You can tell that I'm in charge of spreadsheets. Yeah.
We'll come back to roles. I'm very interested to hear about you and your CEO, who you tell me briefly about. Yeah. So interesting that you... I don't know how to say this without sort of making you sound like a saga, but to be like, the 2008, we're all in this cost of living heyday. Yeah. Do you have a very different perspective because you've
I think it cycles, and you go round. So when we started 2006, it was kind of organic boom time. Everyone was interested in provenance and ingredients and health, sort of health. I mean, it was a different age.
That sort of messaging was quite disruptive then.
Yeah, well, it was sort of pop. You know, it was like, oh, we should be buying organic. It's good, and you know, money was okay. And then 2000, and it was overnight. It was so fast because what happened was there was no. For the normal consumer, there was no particular warning. Lehman's went down, and then it was like a cascade. Everything went down, and then suddenly, boom, recession overnight. And it was quite intense. It was much more intense, I think, than this time round because it just happened.
When this time round, it felt like we all had a lot of warning.
I think, it felt like a slide this time rather than a crash.
Yeah.
So, I feel like we've slid into it, and it feels more mixed. I mean, I don't know whether that's state of the nation because I feel like the gap, the rich and poor gap, is worse. Yeah. Possibly consequent to the 2008 one, where I think that's probably what caused it. I think some people came out of that tickety-boo, some people didn't, and it's never recovered. And the gaps, it's awful. I mean, I think it's one of the worst indicators for a country is the growing gap between rich and poor. And I feel like that's where we are. There are people who are absolutely fine in this one, and there's a whole load of people who absolutely aren't. But it does feel like it's been a slide this time.
How has Rude Health held up?
I was going to say remarkably well. I shouldn't sound surprised, should I? I should
absolutely on strategy.
absolutely on strategy. Absolutely. It's been, I have to say, thanks to CEO Tim, who's been with us a couple of years. He has been extraordinarily good at looking ahead. Looking at what's likely to happen, planning and predicting it, and getting in there before it happens. So we're doing really well. I mean, we've grown almost 15% this year, which I think is seriously impressive at the moment as a premium brand. In a time when people are being careful, and it's hugely reassuring because I think it shows people will pay a little bit more when they really like something or really value something. So I feel yay. really exciting. Really pleased. Really pleased.
What's the secret?
Well, I don't know. I think legs, actually. I think the fact that we've been at this 18 years and have never changed why we're doing it. You know, we never did it to sell a product. It started because we wanted to make something better. You know, at the time, started because most muesli was inedibly boring. You know, it was like chewing till lunchtime. Like, I'd like a healthy breakfast, but I'd also like to enjoy it. Thank you very much. You know, so it was always about creating something that we wanted to eat and then doing it in the way that we wanted to. So even when we did the milks, it took ages to do them. So my ex-husband was then in charge, and he went to Biofac, which is the big international organic food show in Nuremberg, and spent days walking the halls to find, he's like, we are going to find somebody who can make milk with the ingredients that we want, with the flavour profile that we want. And there was only one place. Luckily, there was one. Otherwise, I don't know what we'd have done. There was one who was using decent ingredients, because at that time they were ropey. And our whole thing was, what we now say is we're making healthy eating a celebration, not a sacrifice. But this was the whole idea, was that you've got to enjoy it. You've got to enjoy it, and it still needs to be healthy. So we had this obsession with only using kitchen cupboard ingredients, which nobody was at the time, or they were just miserable. And people were using rubbish ingredients. So, you know, in the almond milk, people were getting the cheapest almonds, understandably, but they're from California, and that is not a good story. You know, it's not great. The entire farming situation in California is not great, but almonds is particularly not great. So we never bought. We were like, we're not buying our almonds from California. So we've always...
Can you just give us the download on that?
So California, it's 90% of the world's almonds are grown in California, which is part of the problem, because it's a vast, I wish I could remember the number, it's something bonkers, like millions of acres of nothing but almonds, monoculture. Pollinators don't come to a monoculture, you need crop variety. So they have to ship the bees in, literally truck the bees in, feed them on high fructose corn syrup, because they're not giving them their own honey, so a third of them die. They're like shipped around the country. They do the oranges in Florida, then they come up and do the almonds in California.
Bees on tour.
It's like slave bees. It's like, honestly, it's extraordinary. The whole thing is bizarre. To pollinate the almond trees, which are grown in an environment, I mean, you can imagine the soil gets denuded because there's nothing but almonds growing, and this is in an area which is already droughty, and it's a tree that does need water. So you've got water issues, you've got bee issues, you've got farming issues, because then you're having to spray because there's no natural predators and everything else. So God knows how many pesticides and herbicides and everything else are being used. So it's just, and it's not very local. That's a continent away. So there was just no way on earth we were going near Californian almonds. So ours come, for the milks, they come from Sicily, and all our almonds, even in the mueslis or granolas, are Italian or Spanish Mediterranean, where they grow naturally. There's no drought issue, there's no bee issue. They're grown, in small, relative to California, small orchards.
Smaller.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, and most of ours come from a nice family farm, and they're different. The almonds themselves, I could go on about this for hours.
I opened a can.
You have opened a can of worms. The almonds are smaller and are much more intense. The shells are harder and thicker, so they're less commercially viable, but what they are is much more intensely flavoured.
Yeah.
So anyway, the whole thing just works better. It's difficult to get all that in a pack though, and nobody keeps milk packs on the table. So going back to your earlier comment about the copy on the back of the cereals, I loved doing that because I knew people would read
it.
cereal packets. So it was like, let's treat it like a magazine or newspaper and assume that people are going to read it. So we put all sorts of stuff on there, which was great fun.
How have you built the brand, and how has that changed? Because cereal boxes give you such a unique opportunity.
Such a good canvas,
Such a good canvas that I can imagine really spoils an early brand. You're like, I can luxuriate in my
space,
inches of real estate.
Yeah, exactly.
And then your world changes. Yeah. Where do you go from there?
Well, I've never quite got over that, actually.
Still grieving.
Still grieving. Keep your milks on the table. It was a real gift, particularly as a brand that started, at the kitchen table with £4,000. It's never had a huge marketing spend. So our packs were our marketing, basically. I have never got over it. It is really hard, and I still think the most difficult thing as a marketeer is to communicate sort of the important messages in a way that is actually cuts through, is interesting, and because we're not a single message brand. I could bang on about almonds, I could bang on about 4 million things, the kitchen cupboard ingredients, but you could bang on about flavour, you could bang on about loads, but you need to just do one line. I mean, even the meaning of rude health, which is the whole point, being in rude health. It's like a lot of people don't really know what that means, so you're trying to find a quick way of getting that across. So we've gone from packs to, we spent quite a lot of years ranting, which was great fun. So that was that started because Nick, ex-husband, he's a ranter. He just rants. He would get on his high horse about something. And our website developer at the time, I think it was about 2008, went, you should record these. And we were like, really? Should we? We've had enough. It's like, it's another rant. But actually, it was a brilliant idea. So we started recording the rants, which would be getting on, things like, why, almonds, California, don't do it, whatever. And then other people started saying, oh, can we have a rant? We want to get on our high horse about something. And then we took them live. So it was like a foodie speaker's corner. So for about 10 years, we used to go to Abergavenny Food Festival and do this live ranting, which was hugely fun, enormously educational, and we got, we met so many interesting people through it. So it was an incredible kind of connectivity driver. But in terms of numbers, in terms of really, really tiny, I never managed to scale it. I completely failed on that one. Never managed to scale the ranting, and it was, I think.
But you tried.
Well, yeah. I mean, we put them on YouTube and did snippets and things. But I think it's too extreme. It's too intense. It's too much, actually. And of course, a lot of it's got nothing to do with rude health, except for the concept of really caring about food, which is a bit of a stretch as a communication. So we eventually sort of put the ranting to bed, and it's more celebratory, which is a more direct message of what we're actually trying to do with the food. So clearer on what we're trying to say now, and sticking to it, because I'm not very good at sticking to anything. But now the head of marketing is really good. I'm really good at sticking to things. I learned so much from everyone in my team, all the stuff I can't do. Can't stick to anything, can't stay on topic. Can't focus.
Is that Sam?
Sam, yes.
Okay,
yep.
so your Sam is a good friend and a very
valuable,
loyal,
very
Upworld
valuable.
member.
He's very good. He's really good at staying on topic, on focus, and really delivering. So at the moment we've got an out of home campaign going, which he's got incredible value out of, and it's popping up everywhere, which is absolutely great. And I think the next challenge, because by its nature a poster campaign is kind of one message, the next challenge is to sort of back that up with some more of the in-depth messaging that we can do that other brands can't in the same way. We do care, going back to your original question about I think it's that it's genuine. The ingredients really do stack up, the flavour really does stack up, we really do care about what goes in it. We're all sort of borderline obsessive, and I think it pays off. It works. We mean it.
I sense in you, while in one breath you're very clear that you need to be very choiceful, I can hear how hard that is to not say it all.
Yeah. Not good at that. Not good. What's that? There's an abbreviation for meetings, isn't it? We keep it. Our meetings need to be. I can't remember. It's one of those ones like SMART, but it's not that. See, I can't even remember what the abbreviation is. But it's all about, what's your meeting for? Stay on topic, deliver. My favourite meetings are the ones where you go off on a complete tangent and come up with a whole new idea. So, as a sort of member of a professional team, I'm a nightmare, completely useless. So I'm kind of on one side now.
What are you really, really good at?
Brand. I love brand. That's what I really like. So the whole look and feel and tone of voice is my happy space. I love it. Basically, because I think, the thing for me was create. It's almost like you create the food, but it's creating the personality of it that means people will understand why that food. So it's everything to do. How it looks, how it sounds, how it feels. The idea, I feel like if you're almost creating a person, and in the way that how you dress or talk when you walk into a room gives an impression of who you are, and means that the other people in the room will know whether you're going to be their tribe. And I feel for me creating a brand is a bit the same. It's what is this personality that you're creating that will mean that when people see it, hear about it, come across it, that they'll feel that it's for them.
How did you create the Rude Health brand, and has it evolved?
Yeah, it took a long time, actually. It did evolve. The big evolution was this packaging was about 10 years ago now, 10, 11 years ago. And I think the main thing was a complete shift in confidence. So until that point, partly because of the recession and partly just because I hadn't really questioned it, we'd gone along with the whole health food bit, which at the time was very separate from like mainstream food. There was a sort of world of healthy food that lived in health food shops and delicatessens and farm shops and things like that. And then there was mainstream food, and even separate from kind of gourmet food. So looking at the trade shows, if you went to natural and organic products, it was very health focused and everything was green and brown and simple and pared back. And if you went to specialty and fine food, which was more focused on delis, it was all very rich colours and swirly typefaces, and looked more gourmet. And it was only in 2013 when we realised that our whole thing was about, the whole point was to make health food appealing and delicious and attractive. And it's like, well, it's not going to work if we look healthy, is it? Because it's going to look healthy. And we've got health in the name, we've got health in the food. Actually, the job of the packaging is to do the delicious bit. And that was at that point that we found our designers and briefed them, and they came up. Oh my God, that's one of my absolute favourite things is when you put together, a brief. You know what you want, but you can't. You can put the words together, but you can't quite see what the outcome is. And they came back with. It was so nice because they created each version of how they'd first interpreted it, and then next interpreted it, and then next interpreted it, and it got to version 4, and Nick and I just went, yes, oh my God, yes, and it was so exciting. And it is basically this look, and we've morphed it. We've now got the lips. Recently, we've got the lips on everything. Yeah. Because that's become the thing. That's us. So they weren't on the milks until very recently. But it's basically the same look then. And it was all about the boldness and looking delicious and tasty and desirable because the health's inside.
Has the Rude Health character changed?
Yeah. I don't think it has. No, I don't think... I mean, maybe more joyful. I think in the beginning we were probably more trying to get the message across in terms of why it's good. And I think now we slightly trust that more and go that the main thing is to attract people in, and it is good. And if you look at the ingredients or you taste it, you'll get that in time. But the main thing is to get across the appeal first. Because if you're in the category, if you're in dairy-free drinks, you're already interested in health or environment, probably.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a given. And then hopefully you taste it and think, this is delicious. And then if you look at the ingredients or you look at anything else or you dig any deeper, we're doing, hopefully, everything that people are looking for. So, yeah, I think probably majoring on slightly different things without actually changing.
Because this brand doesn't rant.
No, it doesn't. It's celebratory now.
Yeah.
We get it. I mean, in the office, we're forever kind of bemoaning things. But it's not. It's just difficult because it assumes a level of obsession that I think is just unreasonable to expect of most people who don't spend their entire day immersed in food. It's like there's only the lunatics who are, who scoured the world for almonds or whatever stories. It is, that care.
I just love how we all go to those seminars where we're told that a brand is a person who walks into a room and that, who's that going to be? What are they going to wear? Where are they going to go on a holiday? Like, we all know those questions, but I feel like it's so rarely this well executed. And the Rude Health, it's funny, like the Rude Health character has evolved, but it's almost
but like growing up.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like it's the same person who had that period where they were really cross about something and is now
totally
and to give it more joy in their lives.
I'm completely untrained, so this is just doing it entirely through kind of feeling, picking things up, reading, just what comes next, what needs doing. So I don't have a marketing training.
How have you learned?
I think listening was the main one, and I think there were, huge gaps. I mean, having Sam in the team, it's quite clear that there's a whole lot of stuff that I just haven't got a clue about, and that's the joy of having Sam, and equally Tim, running the company. I'm looking at, Sam and Tim going, that's how you actually do running a company or, or marketing as a structured, thing that has ways and processes and things, whereas I just did it entirely through kind of, I suppose, using myself as the consumer. What do I want to see or what do I want to understand? And then listen, when people, in the early days we did tastings, we'd go into stores and do tastings, and that was incredible because it's just the questions people ask. So obviously what you're actually trying to do is sell. Actually, I was quite ropey at that because mostly I wanted to just talk to people and get them to ask questions. But the questions that they ask are so revealing. So when we started, it would be, is it wheat free or is it gluten free? We're like, okay, well, clearly we need to put that on pack. And you look at what they had in their basket, what they were eating it with, and you get a sense of who they are, and talking about what they do in their free time, and just building up that sense of who is the person who is attracted to what we're doing, and what do they like, and what are they doing, and then trying to find what are they interested in what we're doing, and trying to find that in that Venn diagram, that bit in the middle where you're giving them the messages they need to hear, which are true to what you are. But there's so much you can say. It's which are the bits that need saying and which are the bits are they listening to. It was mostly consumer-led, really.
How do you keep that? How do you keep a business consumer-led?
I think you've got to keep going out there. I think you've got to keep
showing up,
keep talking to people, I think, and keep listening, even if it's through customers interacting with you, which is a hard one because it's mostly negative, because mostly people only bother to put pen to paper when they're really hacked off with something. But actually, we do get, customers say, oh my God, I love your milk, or whatever, which is incredible. But it still
takes you into the fanatics territory.
It does. Those are extremes. Yeah,
I asked this question because I think I am passionate that marketing is fundamentally about understanding the consumer and everything else is secondary. Yeah. And yet I think as an industry we're pants at it.
And it means getting out there, doesn't it? It means you've got to hang out in stores. You've got to hang out where the people are who buy your brand, or in people's houses, or in stores, or all of the above. I'm a shocking looking people's fridge and cupboards person. And of course they all feel terrible if they haven't got Rude Health. But for me that's really interesting because I'm like, what have you got and why haven't you got Rude Health?
Exactly.
It's like, why not?
That's the real
question.
What
is it that we're not doing? Why have you chosen something else instead? And it's genuinely a really interesting question. Is it literally a price point? Is it not understanding that our almonds come from Sicily. Is it what, was it that it wasn't available in the local shop?
Yeah.
All,
what's the barrier?
But really, really valuable to know. So I love a cupboard, fridge. Yeah.
So your team's changed a lot.
Yes.
In the last 3,
it's
4
constantly
years?
changing. I mean, it feels, I've kind of got over it now. There was a period where I really struggled because because the business is like my third child. It did feel a little bit like everyone in it was also kind of, my children, family, whatever. But children's probably a bit patronising. It was like I care about everybody, and I used to really struggle when they left. But I've kind of got better with
I resonate with that.
The journey, and it's lovely seeing them go on and go and do other exciting things like Elle, who works for you.
Yes.
So. Now I've got more used to it.
I've sort of taken her. I definitely feel like I've adopted her. It's like she's my child now.
There you go.
Was there that I really get?
Yeah.
Is there a hard thing
Yeah.
in bringing in people who are better at stuff that's really close to your area? How does that work?
I have actually loved that. I don't know whether it's because it happened quite late and it was quite clear. I was so the frustration of knowing that you could be doing better and you just can't. You don't know how. Is
so tangible.
Yeah, it's like
yeah.
Why can't I do this? So bringing in people who can is, I think, one of the biggest thrills. And honestly, it's one of the most. I can't quite believe that I'm in this incredibly happy position where I get to hire people who are better than me. And it's like, how does that work? It's like, how do I get to, interview people who know a lot more than I do about the job?
Yeah.
It's really, it's kind of...
And command authority
I
in that
know,
dynamic.
it's like, this is a very odd situation. But an enormous privilege, because then I get to work with these great people who, know loads, really talented, loads of experience, and they, and I can kind of give them the tools, in the sense of give them the brand that I've created, and then they can actually do stuff with it that I can't do. There's no, we would not be doing as well as we are without people like Tim and Sam.
No, and I loved how immediately you attribute the success to this to these talented individuals so quickly and so humbly.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's true. If I was in charge, it would be a right mess. We'd be making 4 million different foods. It would be fun, but it would be very chaotic.
But you do add specific value in innovation and big ideas.
Well, I think probably just annoying people. There's probably a much better word for it than that. But yeah, I'm all about why and the exciting. Because for me, incremental change is boring. It's really value. It's actually what you need to do. You need solid incremental growth, but it doesn't inspire me. What I'm inspired by is, that exciting, total marketeer. Exciting shiny idea over there with no path to an outcome might not work. That's the thing that gets me absolutely fired up. So it's probably throwing in the randomness. And so, I mean, one of my current bugbears, which the entire team is probably absolutely sick of me talking about, but we still haven't made it work. We have this incredible milk, the Roasted Almond Milk. It's the team favourite. It's the cafe favourite. It sells incredibly well on Amazon. I hate saying because I actually don't shop on Amazon, but it's like the one that when people find it, they absolutely love it. But for some reason, we can't make it sell. We haven't found them right. I think it's called roasted. I don't know.
Because it feels unfamiliar.
I think it feels unfamiliar, or people don't quite. We've got too many almond drinks. It's confusing. So, but I'm slightly obsessed. But if you look at it in degrees of importance as a professional marketeer or professional business owner, it's probably a huge side issue. But for me, I'm like, this is the future of our milks. This is the one that I just want to make this
because
one work.
Because it gives you real differentiation.
Real differentiation. It's just brilliant. It's just absolutely delicious. Ingredients are fantastic. Everybody who tries it loves it. I'm like, this is it. This is the one. But sorting it out or making it, it's not just going to be a one quick fix, because how does it fit into the portfolio of almond milks that we do? So yeah, it's kind of that kind of thing that I'll bang on about. That it's just probably mostly very annoying, but I do think in the end those things are the things that tip something into another phase.
Yeah. How do you agitate effectively? I know that feeling.
That's a good question.
I literally
don't know
know that
I
feeling so much when you're just kind of wandering around, just like slightly like causing trouble, and you feel really guilty about it because you know it's unhelpful.
Exactly. And
but you also kind of know it's your job.
Yeah, it is. So I try and only do it mostly with like Tim and Sam. So I try not to do it completely all over the place with the whole team, because it's not really fair if I'm coming in saying one thing and, you know, Tim and Sam are saying something else. So I will try not to do it the whole time all over the place. Try and focus it. I mean, I don't need to have to ask them whether I do it effectively or not.
And is there a way... So I've had feedback that even me doing this in private, they're like, I get that you're not doing it to the whole team, but you're still really distracting to me.
That's my job.
And I'm like, oh yeah.
But I think it partly is your job, probably, isn't it? Because you have to keep you've got to keep it's like I look at it as a check. Because you get on a track and you do a track, but that isn't going to be the right track forever. You are going to need to shift. So I think we're the ones who kind of go, is this the shift? Is this the shift? Is this the shift? And one of them will be. And if you miss it, you're on the wrong track.
So what advice do you have? Because I think lots of people listening to this will be like, you two. You and you.
Not hiring you.
You're all so the same.
Yeah.
How can we give advice to someone who's reporting into someone like us?
I think for me, one of the big I love, I don't know whether you call it honesty or bravery, but I think the thing is I'm putting stuff out there. I am it's a test. I'm saying, I feel like this is the thing. I want this to be the one, or how do we do this? I am totally happy for someone to come back and say, I think you're insane.
Yes.
You know, because. So it's not a kind of, I am right, I am preaching, or I need, it's more of a sort of, it's me needing to, feeling my way into something and actually I'm really happy when someone bounces back with with a why or a why not and then you can iterate till you arrive at a really good conclusion. So I think be brave. It's not I'm happy to hear a no, particularly with a why. I mean, just a no is a bit dead, but a no with a why.
But even
is
if
really
the why
interesting.
is we're really clear on our priorities right now, and we're
exactly.
really stretched.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna dig into that idea, but I'm gonna give you the why. I'm not listening to it right now.
Yes, exactly.
I think it's just about. I think you're right. I think understanding where it's coming from in a founder.
Yes. Yeah.
And being empathetic to what they're trying to do, which is find a home for all of that energy.
Yeah. Yes,
and actually
and
we're just
can't
like,
stop with the ideas.
And we're sort of Labradors, and a few hits on the nose, we'll like
all right,
come
back tomorrow with another one.
Exactly.
I'll be back.
Quite hardy, which is part of the resilience.
And I love a good debate. I love a good tussle around an idea because it hones it, refines it. That's what makes it actually good in the end. Is having somebody who doesn't get it or doesn't think it's right, and also makes you realise how much you care. Because this pack design. So the game-changing pack design, which did game changers, because at the time nobody in health food looked like a not health food. Everybody looked like a health food. So the standout was phenomenal. So Nick and I got massively excited about it. Everyone else in the business thought we were insane because it was too much of a change. And they were terrified, understandably, that we were going to lose all our customers. And it was a really good challenge because the answer was, yes, we probably will lose some customers, and we completely believe that we're going to gain more than we'll lose.
And we didn't
quantify it, but it was like, but it made us really clear on we are okay with losing. Yes, we will, and that's okay because we're going to gain more. We really believe that this taps into a whole new world of people. But it's a good challenge.
Have you ever got it wrong?
I think we've got sort of everything wrong over the years. Lots. I mean, even looking at the marketing, it's only in the recent years with Sam that we've achieved any scale at all. And that it's just really late. I have to look at that and say,
and
I
you've
never
achieved
scaled
scale by spending more.
Partly by focus and spending more. Yeah, but really, and letting go of. For me, it's the letting go of trying to do depth and scale. I think they're two different things, and I'm so obsessed with the depth. I'm so obsessed with the why that I just wasn't able to do a bigger what and let people come to the why. So that was Sam really getting me off the Why? I mean, that's what I love. But but it doesn't
not
reach enough people.
Not everyone needs it all.
No, and you can't. You just can't. I mean, I don't know how you get to do that. That's different thing. I'd love to know, but yeah.
I think the answer is you do it for less people.
Yeah. Yes.
And you do enough reach that the audience of people who want more grows.
It's your funnel, isn't it? Yeah.
It's your funnel.
Your
funnel gets bottom of your funnel gets bigger. The bigger the top of the funnel,
and then you get to tell more people why. Hopefully,
then you get to do some depth stuff.
Yeah. So I think that may be the next thing. See what Sam says, but I think we've done a little bit of awareness, and we may get to do a bit more depth again now. Hopefully. Sam's probably going no.
He's like, we've spent a bit of money. Yes. Like, we are not a household brand yet.
Yeah, exactly. When do I get to do why?
Last question. Are you going to be Rude Health forever?
Oh, I don't know.
What's
I mean, it is,
plan?
as you can hear, it's like I am now an agitator on the edges, annoying everybody. I think there probably comes a time when I am just annoying everybody, and it's in really good hands. So...
Sounds like you're annoying restaurants.
Yeah, annoying restaurants now. Yeah,
everywhere you go, you're just
annoying people last night.
Serial brand agitator.
It's like, could you sort out your lighting and your menu and your layout? Yes, can't help it. So there's probably, I think there probably comes a point, like children, because my children are 20 and 18, and the brand is 18.
So interesting.
It is a third child, and I think there comes a point probably where it needs to grow up and do its own thing without the parent kind of going around the corner. So yeah, it's just a question of timing. Yeah, but it's a weird one because you never let go of your kids. So, I mean, in the same way, I'm not sure I'll ever really let go of Rude Health, but
no, but that metaphor is really helpul. There's like a transition from active parenting to like making Sunday lunch. To
exactly. Doing the laundry when they come back for a
exactly.
So the
role
shifts, and it is shifting.
That doesn't mean you're not.
No.
Integral. It just means that you can have a slightly different...
Exactly, and that's kind of where I am
place.
now, is it's just becoming less and less day to day, and more agitator, whatever the word is. So it's a weird one.
Great.
Yeah.
Is there? We always finish up with this. Is there anything that someone listening to this can help you with?
Well, if you can sort out how to, what is it we need to do with a roasted almond? What do we need to be saying?
So
what is it that we need to say to make that the one that people, to make it appealing? It's the most delicious one. How do we get that across? And the ingredients are incredible. How do we get that across? If anyone has
I'm going to think about that.
all over it.
That's a genuinely fascinating question. Where can I buy this roasted almond
That's the problem. Almost nowhere.
Right.
Yeah.
So I need to order some from Amazon.
I can't believe I'm saying that. Amazon.
Is that the promo message we're giving?
No.
Go to a small independent retailer.
Yeah, where you won't find it really annoyingly.
Well, then ask for it to be stocked.
Yes, actually, yes, please do. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. What? We swap roles.
It's been a pleasure.
Even though we don't know who we are anymore.
Thank you so much for listening. A reminder, if you could leave us a review, a rating, get in touch, drop me a DM to tell us more about what you think and who you want to hear from next. It makes a huge difference that we know that someone out there is listening. And if you can spread the word, that would be an enormous help. Next up, I'm interviewing Matt Herbert, who is founder of Tracksuit, an affordable solution to brand health tracking. This has been something I've needed so many times over in my career, and the Tracksuit team have become really close friends. So I'm excited to have them round to ask some questions about how it all started and how they're making waves in the industry.